Hi, my name is Caitlin Rolshaw, and this is a PowerPoint presentation overview of the social work pioneer paper about Jane Addams. Early life. Laura Jane Addams was born on September 6, 1860 in Cedarville, Illinois. The Addams family, who were originally from Pennsylvania, held strong Quaker beliefs. These Quaker beliefs would be a driving force for Jane in her social work career. Growing up, Jane was a sickly child. She suffered from tuberculosis of the spine, which would affect her both physically and emotionally. When Jane was 2 years old, her mother passed away during childbirth, and Jane would primarily be raised by an older sister. Jane did have a close relationship with her father, however. John Addams was a businessman who invested in railroads and banking. He is also noted for being a friend of Abraham Lincoln. Both Jane and her father valued intellect, and it was John who pushed Jane to pursue further education. Jane attended college at the Rockford Female Seminary, although she would have preferred to attend Smith College. While at Rockford, Jane excelled in school. She was an avid writer. Also while at Rockford, she began to develop a network of colleagues, primarily Ellen Bates Starr, who she would work with in the future. After graduating from seminary as valedictorian, Jane made plans to attend medical school at the Women's Medical College in Philadelphia. However, just before entering her first semester of medical school, Jane's father passed away, and she fell into a deep depression. Jane would go on to complete one semester of medical school. However, she left to pursue her travels. While traveling, Jane visited Tonabee Hall in London. Her experience at Tonabee Hall would be the foundation for which she and Ellen would build the first settlement house in the United States. Hull House. Social settlements were created in response to problems caused by urbanization, industrialization, and immigration. Settlement houses provided the opportunity for researchers and social workers to live among and work with the underprivileged. Jane's Quaker beliefs and resulting moral compass were the foundation on which she built her commitment to social justice and bettering the lives of the disadvantaged. Jane and Ellen started Hull House on the west side of Chicago in 1889. This was an area of the city inhabited by immigrants and plagued by poverty. At Hull House, Jane challenged traditional ideas of social work by treating poverty as a social issue instead of an individual moral compass. Jane advocated for social change. The purpose of Hull House, as stated in its charter, was to provide a center for higher civic and social life, to institute and maintain educational and philanthropic enterprises, and to investigate and improve the conditions in the industrial districts of Chicago. Hull House strove to educate the disadvantaged in an attempt to close the gap between social classes. Furthermore, Hull House aided in the improvement of working conditions for both women and children. Education was a focus at Hull House in an attempt to break the harsh labor system faced by immigrants, while also making immigration community members a force for change. While at Hull House, immigrants were exposed to clubs, classes, and lectures, and they were given opportunities to learn about art, history, and other cultures. Interestingly, the economically disadvantaged were not the only ones to congregate at Hull House. Hull House became a place where intellectual minds and activists met to develop their ideas. Hull House became a center for research, analysis, study, and debate, as well as a center for living in and establishing good relationships with the neighborhood. Residents at Hull House conducted investigations on housing, midwifery, fatigue, tuberculosis, typhoid, garbage collection, cocaine, and truancy. Addams' other causes. Jane is most well known for her experiences at Hull House, but she was an advocate for other issues. For example, Jane joined macro-level efforts and advocated for workers' rights by hosting trade union meetings at Hull House. She was an advocate for a full range of human rights. She was an internationalist. She took a pacifist stance against U.S. entry into World War I, and according to the National Negro Committee, Jane worked for the protection of African Americans who were the victims of lynching and mob violence, and she was a founding member of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Additionally, Jane actively promoted women's rights through causes such as suffrage and the fight against prostitution. Fall from grace. Jane's work at Hull House made her an influential figure. She was known as Saint Jane. However, the good works for which Addams had become famous for masked the radical nature of her criticisms of American society. As Jane fought for causes outside of Hull House and outwardly challenged U.S. society, she began to be viewed as a public enemy. Jane was labeled as a traitor, a subversive, an undesirable citizen, and a dangerous red. These labels stemmed largely from the fear that women, such as Jane Addams, were the agents of international communism. Legacy. Jane faced numerous challenges and barriers during her lifetime. However, her work in the social work field did not go unnoticed. Jane became the recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize in 1931 for her work at Hull House. Jane pioneered in public education, public health, social work, and social reform. Addams remains to be an inspiration and role model for social workers today as they struggle to find new solutions to old problems. And this last slide is a list of references I included in my paper and this presentation. Thank you.